So today I'll just be giving a quick update video on the whole house stuff. Yesterday I got news that the appraisal came in way lower than we were expecting, and with the VA loan, you cannot purchase a house over the appraisal value. So the lender and the realtor were trying to get me, or my agent were trying to get me to write a letter to the VA and like kind of advocate for why I want to buy the house over the asking price. But then when I was thinking about the whole process, I was like, it doesn't really make sense for me to purchase the house over, or not the asking price, over the appraisal value, because really what the VA is doing is just looking out for me and they have my best interest. So they're telling me to do this, but I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. Why would I advocate to pay a higher price than the house is worth if they're saying the house is worth, if the VA is saying the house is worth less? So what ended up happening is I was thinking about it throughout the day, and then I ended up calling one of my friends and talking to him about it. He's involved in real estate and stuff like that. And I kind of already knew where I wanted to go with things, because for a couple of days I've already been having like a weird feeling where, I don't know, things like it felt like this wasn't the property to close on, kind of thing. Like it felt right, but at the same time, I don't know, I didn't feel like 100% about it, but I just thought like, oh, maybe I'm being nervous. But during this whole time I'm praying and stuff and I'm asking God, I'm like, all right, which you guys should always do whenever you're making any decision, you should always involve God. But during this time, I'm just kind of praying, and I'm like, all right, God, if this is not the right place, just do something to where it doesn't go through, where the deal doesn't go through. So I'm praying this every time I'm thinking about the house. I'm just praying this, or I'm saying, if it is right, let it go through. And when I got that confirmation right then, I kind of already knew. I was like, all right, like this isn't the house. So I'm not gonna fight it and go and try to send a letter to the VA or something like that, because it just doesn't even make sense. Why am I fighting against that? I have no emotional attachment to the house. Yes, the timing, I would have liked to move earlier on in the year, but everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in God's timing, so you can't try to push or rush any timelines, and you just got to go with what you're being told by God. You can't really try to push things on your own time, because that's when you end up making mistakes and things end up not working in your favor. So yeah, I mean, that's the update right there. Just make sure whatever you're doing, you're taking time to actually process and making sure you're making the right and the smart move, if you know what I mean. So next steps is, I guess I'm gonna just continue to look for houses. I feel like this was a good. First off, let me explain the process and how it also doesn't make sense. Why the whole house buying process? Why is it that you get you select the house, you negotiate numbers, then you get the home inspection done, which you have to pay for most times, I think. Uh, at least I did. And then you get all this paperwork sent in and all that. But then, at least for the VA side, if they already know that they're not going to let you get a mortgage if the appraisal comes in higher, why isn't the appraisal the first step that they do to avoid wasting all this time and money? I mean, granted, you do have to pay for or someone has to pay for the appraisal, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, you would think the whole process would be the other way around, where the appraisal happens first to make sure you could even get the house if you do end up closing. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they have their reason for doing it that way, but when you really think about it, it makes no sense, because you're waiting literally in a couple of days, I would own the house if it weren't for the appraisal, which is fine. I mean, I'm not worried about it. It is what it is. Like I said, I have no emotional attachment. To me, it's just a business deal. Uh, this house is not my forever home or anything like that, so it's just a business deal to me. But yeah, the whole process is kind of seems backwards, but that's a whole nother topic on its own. But what was I saying? Yeah, next step would be for me to just continue to look for houses. Uh, I actually like that this kind of happened, because during the whole process of me starting to get locked into actually almost buying the house, I started thinking about more things I would have wanted inside the house for what I'm trying to do and things like that, or if I even really wanted to still do this model. So it's gonna give me time to reflect and think. And the next time I go out and start looking, I'm going to be very nitpicky with my standards, so that when I do close, I know that I'm 100% happy with the deal I'm getting and all of that. Right now, this deal, the main reason why I wanted to close on it is because of the equity. The projected equity was 100K over what I was paying, but that ended up not being true because the lady said she got it appraised for two different amounts, and both of those were, one of them was about 70K higher than I was paying, and then the other one was 100K higher than I was paying. So I was thinking that the appraisal was going to come back at that value, and that would have set me up for anything I wanted to do in the future with the HELOC, or getting some type of credit from the house. HELOC is home equity line of credit. If anybody doesn't know, you can search that up, and pretty much you're able to pull the equity out your house, about like 95% of the equity out of your house, and use that for any deals you want to do. So that was one of my main reasons for even looking at this specific property. But now that I'm moving forward, I'm gonna probably focus on 4 units again. And if I do the rent by the room strategy, then I'm going to be looking for a much more cheaper house where I'd be getting paid to live at the house. Right now with the 4 units, a lot of them that I analyzed prior to this, it was hard to find anything where you'd be cash flowing while you were still living in the unit. But I mean, if I did get a 4 unit, cash flow wouldn't really be my priority, because I'd be looking at the overall asset in my portfolio, if that makes sense. It would be a very large asset to be able to get in my portfolio at such a young age. So that would be the main priority, and then the equity after that. Um, but yeah, that's the update. Just gonna get back out there. These lessons only make you smarter, more aware of things. So I mean, I'm happy that it happened. I'm not really sad or nothing. At first, I was like a little bit bummed out because just it's a long process and everything. But now, if anything, I feel relief. So yeah. Also, I just want to take some time to send my condolences and prayers over to the families of the people affected in DC with the plane crash and the helicopter crash. Uh, it's very sad. We really don't know when we'll be taken from this earth. These people were in a helicopter. These military members were in a helicopter doing training in DC, one of the safest places. They definitely didn't think nothing was going to happen to them. And then the other people, the 60, I think it was like 60 people, or 64 altogether. But the 60 odd people on the plane, they obviously had a destination to go to. They had no idea this was going to happen, and they had no idea what was even happening. And for their lives to just be taken like that is it's really sad, but it's also really eye opening. And you just never know when your time will be. Things like this happen, and I feel like it always just makes us realize that. But I don't know, this one is just a little, I guess, a little bit different since it happened like an hour away, and then on top of that, it's just the speed at which it happened. No one knew what was happening before they passed, so it's just very sad, very unfortunate. But like I said, we don't know when we'll be taken from this earth, so make the most of the time that you do have here. Don't take it for granted. Um, if you want to do something, go do it. Like I said earlier in my video, stop procrastinating, because we really don't know when we'll be taken from here, guys. Yeah. But yeah, with that being said, like I said, sending thoughts and prayers to them, sending my condolences, and y'all make sure y'all pray for them too. Pray for the families that have been affected. Appreciate y'all watching.